Now that the Lakers have acquired Anthony Davis, it's interesting how their offseason could go, because had they have waited on this trade, the trade can't be finalized right now. So if the deal would have been done after July 30th, if they would have waited over a whole month to get to acquire Anthony Davis, they could have saved a whole nother, I don't know, $7 or $8 million in cap because of that fourth pick. They would have been able to count that fourth pick as cap space and free that up. But since they did it before the draft, which obviously benefited the Pelicans because now they can decide who they want to draft or if they want to trade it. Since they did it before the draft, they don't have that $8 million. And so what they had in cap space, which is around what would have been around anywhere from $28 to $32 million, close to a max slot, they'll now only have about 23 or 24. And that's kind of difficult to fill out the rest of the roster, especially if you want to bring in another max level guy. I don't think the Lakers need to bring in another max level guy, though. They don't need to bring in a guy like Kemba Walker, Kyrie, Kawhi Leonard. And the only one that I think would join the Lakers out of those three would be Kyrie, because he's played with LeBron and he's shown interest in playing with Anthony Davis. He's the only one that's likely, but you're going to have to ask him to take a pay cut. He's not going to want to do that. And then you're not going to have a bench. You're going to have to sign a bunch of guys to veterans minimum deals, mid-level exceptions, and you're not going to have a good bench. Which is why I propose you just fill out the rest of the roster with solid guys, solid rotation players, and create depth. You don't need a superstar point guard running your offense. If they retain Rajon Rondo, who can create for others and get to the basket and plays good defense, that's good. I like Rajon Rondo in the Lakers system. He can't shoot, but he can create shots for others. Now they could also bring in a guy, another point guard like a Darren Collison, who's a slasher but can shoot. They don't need a superstar point guard. They just need someone who's able to create shots for others, play solid defense, and hit some jump shots. Now let's say they bring in a guy like Darren Collison on the cheap. Darren Collison's your starting point guard. You then have LeBron James, Kyle Kuzma, and Anthony Davis. Now, if you want to go a big lineup, you could go out and sign a center like a Nikola Vucevic, who I like, or maybe you go out and get Brook Lopez again, re-sign him. You could have a really big lineup, but that would mean Kuzma's playing the two, so that's probably not going to work. You bring in Kuzma off the bench, and then you could bring in a guy like a Danny Green at the shooting guard position, who can hit some spot-up shots. He doesn't need the ball. He can move without the ball. That would be a great fit as well. You just need guys who are solid, who can do things that, although maybe not as dominantly and as well, but just do things similar to that of a Kyrie Irving or a Bradley Beal, Klay Thompson, a guy who can shoot, can move without the ball, and is significantly cheaper, so you can fill out the roster, have great depth on the bench, and have a really solid starting lineup. I think this move, and then with their cap space and depending on how they use it, and they spread it out and they get depth, the Lakers will be the best team in the Western Conference on paper. Obviously, I have to say on paper because we don't know how they're going to mesh together. And the LA Lakers back in 2012, 2013, they were a great team on paper. They traded for Dwight Howard. They traded for Steve Nash. They had Pau Gasol. Meta World Peace. They had a really good starting lineup with Kobe Bryant, but they were awful. They didn't play well together, and it ended badly. That was the beginning of the end of Kobe Bryant's career right there. And it didn't work out. So I have to say on paper, because LeBron and AD may not work out. I would like to think it would, because AD is not a guard, so he's not going to dominate the ball all the time. So I would like to think it would work out, but you just never know. But I think if that's what they do, they fill out the roster with that cap space they have, they're going to have a really good team. They're going to be favored in the Western Conference to make it to the finals. They're already favored to win the title next year by Vegas. That might be a little bit of a reach, because I still think they need more money to fill out the roster more evenly and get better players. But they're certainly capable of winning it this year, because the West is wide open, in my opinion, and I think it's the Lakers' conference to take. This trade is extremely important, with the Warriors essentially being gone for a year. And I'm extremely excited. And I think the NBA was rooting for this hard, because the NBA is much better when the Lakers are good and they're interesting and they're fun and they're exciting. Hey everyone, subscribe right here to catch all the latest segments from The Will Ford Show. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast, The Will Ford Show, on Apple Podcasts and on SoundCloud. You can follow my Twitter account at The Will Ford Show, and you can also follow me on Facebook. Follow my Facebook page at The Will Ford Show. We'll see you guys soon.